Good morning, Flosstube. Pam, stitching between the lines. Saturday morning, July 27th, 2019. This time I even remember to say the year. Video number 60. 60. Sunny Saturday morning. Gotta love that. Hanging around the house today, doing some things. Before we get busy doing things, I need to make the video and get all the stuff out and handle it, and then I gotta go outside and probably get dirty, sweaty. The quilt. Okay, here's the thing. People say they want to see the quilts. I'm happy to feature quilts for a while until I run out of things that I can feature. This quilt, though, you have to accept the fact that I'm not going to have specific information available. So I'll move out of the way so you can see it. I think I'll move out of the way. My chair only goes so far before it's the filing cabinet. Let's go down. Okay. This was a block of the month quilt that I did years ago. And block of the month, it was more like a segment of the month. Like across the top was 1 month. And those three, I don't know how to move my hand so that it follows the quilt. That was another month. This one was another. This one. So anyway, you get it because you can kind of see the segments. I did it. It was enjoyable. I like the results. It has hung on the wall in our basement family room for years. I swap it out now with other quilts that have come along that are like seasonally. Like the Lori Holt quilt I showed last time is down there now. And I have a pumpkin one and Easter one, and maybe I hang the Christmas or winter. Oh, there's a winter one with snowmen. I hang that one down there in the winter. So this one, I just can't give you specifics about it. It was, like I said, a block of the month, and I gave the pattern away, which I don't want to say I regret it. It's not like I can't recreate any of these. I really like star blocks, and so this wouldn't exactly be a challenge to recreate the shape of some of those stars to make a tabletop or a table runner or whatever. But I'm not even going to say I'm sorry I can't tell you anything about it. I just know that people want to see the stuff. And just know you're not going to be able to recreate everything I show. This kind of block of the month, I wouldn't be surprised if, I'm trying to think where I maybe did it through. I'm going to almost guess it was Keepsake Quilts, but I'm not convinced. But this was early in my quilting career, and so I don't know that I had the sort of repertoire of shops that I could shop from back then. So anyway, enjoy that for the next 20 minutes or whatever it takes us to make a video this morning. It's been a couple weeks. I have, like always, I have traveled some more. Last weekend I went down into southern Pennsylvania to take a quilt workshop with Bonnie Hunter. So that was really fun. She's really a dynamic teacher. I am a fan. I follow her. I have a lot of her books, maybe all of them. I'm not really sure. Made quite a few of her quilts. I had been to her lecture when she came locally a couple years ago, but hadn't been able to take a class from her until now. She really knows what she's doing, and she knows how to keep command of a classroom. So that's really nice when you're taking a quilt class. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. That quilt behind me, it makes me feel like I'm giant and like my head is hitting the ceiling kind of giant. That's so weird, like Alice in Wonderland. Murphy's around somewhere. Oh, I think he wandered away. He was laying in the sun, and then he was taking a bath, and now I guess he's left. He'll be back. He can't stay away. I'm going to keep adjusting you. Sorry. Okay. I'm trying to feature the quilt, but at the same time, I'm trying not to bump my head on the ceiling fan. So goofy. Okay, so I have one FFO. No real excuse for there only being one, except for somehow I can't seem to force myself to spend any time in my sewing room doing FFOing. Quilt making, yes. Little House Needleworks, what's it called? Farm Fresh Cherries. Just love this one. I did it on a piece of yellow even weave from Color and Cottons. It doesn't look very yellow here. I'm trying to see if we can capture the yellowness of it, because that red and green on yellow is perfect. Anyway, I did it on a board, blah, blah. You can see what I did. I'm not really happy with the embellishment thing. I was trying to do something with buttons, and it's like tied with some twine, and I don't know. I'm going to put it in my kitchen up over my cabinets. I have like a whole array of things up there and some stitching hanging above. So I'll put a picture here. Where it is in my kitchen. Once I climb up there and hammer in a nail and hang it, I'll be able to put a picture in, and you can see, and really the end result is that bow and button down on the bottom don't show. So it is what it is. An effort to finish something. And then I have one stitching finish, which is about time. It's what, July 27th, and if you're trying to do one of these a month, I'm falling behind. Not really falling behind. I had to make a serious effort to finish August Wordplay. So this is 7th. This is my 7th of the 12. And it's done on a piece of mellow 32 count Picture This Plus. Nothing remarkable about it. It uses like 700 different colors of thread, and sometimes 700 different colors. Where am I going? So you can put in just maybe 4 stitches in a color. I don't know. You all know what we feel about patterns that call for all sorts of fancy flosses and barely any stitches with it. I'm doing the whole series, and it tends to revisit the same colors, so just because maybe there were only 4 stitches in here of something doesn't mean it won't reoccur. So I picked out the next 2 I'm going to do. April, I think, and March. I don't know. I don't remember. I pulled them out. They're downstairs. I need to go through the colors, the threads. Last month when I pulled out August, I had originally pulled out, I think, July, and there were so many colors I didn't have that I just put July back and pulled out something different. So now I pulled out 2, and I'll go through and I'll see what threads I need and make those acquisitions and, get caught up on that. So let's see. I have a pile over here, like I said. I'm going to show a couple whips, just a couple whips. Everybody knows my plight of Spirit of Christmas, lavender lace. I don't know. Just go with it. Just flow with it. I've showed it before. I started it over because my previous fabric was a nightmare. So here's where I am on a random piece of blue even weave. I found it. I don't know where I got it. I don't know who makes it. I just can't seem to force myself to work on this. Well, first of all, when you don't even recognize what is top and bottom, shocking that I can't get any kind of rhythm going. It's sort of disappointing that I've had to start over, and it's just I've looked forward to doing this for several years, and so I'm just really disappointed that I can't seem to make it happen. So I'm going to take, this is in my stitching chair, the same stitching chair where I've been doing the word plays. And the word plays, for the amount of time I spend in that stitching chair, take about the whole month. And then I'm starting another one. So I'm going to hold off on starting another Wordplay for a couple weeks and try to, spend a little time on Spirit of Christmas. And the other whip that I have been really enjoying is one of my Mania starts. There's thread all over it, sorry. You can see I stopped like mid-stitch. There's a needle is in position and everything. This is, it's Winter, a Sue Hillis. I have had it for years. The pattern, I think I showed before when I talked about the pattern, is pretty much has that feel of being pencil drawn. So kind of a nuisance. The marks aren't all like exactly in the middle, so sometimes you're trying to count them or look at them. And so when I started it in Stitch Mania, I had the gingerbread girl and boy and the gingerbread cookie here mostly done. Some of the highlighting wasn't done. So since I've picked it up again, I've worked on the mug of hot cocoa and boxed it in, and I'm working on this. I actually really love stitching this kind of thing where you stitch along 5 stitches and then skip 4 and stitch 3 more and skip 4. I really am doing it kind of in chunks of 20 stitches so that if I get off somewhere, I'm not off a huge amount, but I am almost done with those words. And then I have to do the whole thing again down here, all this blue background and the white snowflakes. It is so cute. I'm telling you, it is so cute. I love the color. The blue is $37.50, I think. I'm looking at the pattern so I can tell you. Yep, $37.50 is the blue. And I've gone through almost an entire skein up here. So this is a fun one. Very much a fun one. I'm going to have a whole thing of bunch of patterns that are kind of a hot cocoa theme. By default, not by plan. And what else is over here in my pile? Excuse me while I look. Okay. I'm going to save this to talk about in a minute, but it's all out here in pieces and parts. My friend Penny, who goes to StitchCon and Minnesota, and I'm not sure anywhere else. Sorry, I am looking for something specific, and it's here. I just keep shuffling things, so sorry. Excuse me while I peruse. Ugh, can't find it. It'll turn up. My friend Penny she lives in Maine, and there's no LNS or anything around, so she has started a little online shop called thedailystitcher.com. That's what I was looking for, her business card to show you. It will turn up because I know it's laying over here. And I needed some threads, when I was doing the last Wordplay. I think I needed I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 threads in general for all the things I was working on. So I ordered from her, and you have to love it when packaging comes. Like, this is the envelope that came. That is adorable. When that kind of mail comes, that's very cool. So while I was on her website shopping my threads, you don't like to just buy one little wee thing or 5 little wee skeins of thread. So I picked up some Ariel 32 count. Picture this plus, because I love my blues. To stitch on my blues, light blues. We're not doing that dark blue stuff anymore like I tried with Spirit of Christmas. That was an epic fail. And a couple patterns that I've just always liked that she had. Stars and Stripes Forever and Happy Christmas to All. I love that. That's from 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, which I collect those books, which I found another one at an antique store. If you hold on, just admire the quilt for a minute. I wasn't planning to mention this, but we're going to. Sorry about that. I found this at an antique store the night before Christmas, and it was obviously well loved because it has been taped, but very well taped. In fact, no, that's not. No, I just made that up. That is not tape. That is the original construction of the book. I think it was okay. It was given as a Christmas gift in 1924 to somebody named Lulabella. Lulabella Root. Isn't that cute? 1924. I just love. It's from Grandma. I paid $6 for it. I don't know. It was printed in Akron, Ohio. So another one that I don't, obviously, there's so many different varieties of this book. I think I could probably collect them for years and not ever have a duplicate. I have all the typical today's versions of children's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. I have a couple different Golden Book versions, but from from when my kids were little. I have most of those from that era, the Coca-Cola, I don't know. So I really love, I always look at a library book sale or a rummage sale because most families had a 'Twas the Night Before Christmas book. I found another one, which I haven't shown you. It's back there, but we'll just leave that there. At a rummage sale down the road. I just love finding that. That is so cool. Anyway, so I digress. I was showing you my new patterns. I had another purchase currently. Obsession, I have to admit my latest obsession. I'm obsessed with, like, I don't want to say like the dimensions kits and Riolis, and it's not that they're kits, it's those patterns that tend to come in kits. The work is intense. Like Winter Sampler, like that one, you can work and work and work, and you have a fabulous thing in the end. Fabulous. Before, the kind of thing I would have worked on before, before the mid-90s, when I started to get into more of the like current designers and designs and whatever, back when I was a one-at-a-time stitcher. So anyway, I have been sort of trying to figure out, Angie has talked about the same thing, about the family having Christmas stockings, which we do. Everybody has a Christmas stocking. I stitched them as the kids were born. I believe everybody had a stocking by their first Christmas. Pretty sure. My first daughter, I took the stocking that was mine and took my name off it and put hers on it, and then I stitched a new one for myself. And then, the kids as they came, I stitched them stockings. So I've never shown them. I don't know, maybe this Christmas I will. But anyway, Angie has talked about the struggle to figure out what to do when your family grows. I believe that for grandchildren, that's an easy one. It's stockings for the adults that enter your family as your in-laws, your children-in-laws. I try to imagine, I have two daughters and a son, and I try to imagine, grown men really caring that they have a Christmas stocking that I made, not in the same way that my own son would like it, because it's been his since he was born. So I said something, I was shopping on Stash Unload, and I saw some stockings that somebody was selling, like kits. And I said something to my husband, what do you think? And he said, absolutely yes. Yes, absolutely yes. There should be stockings similar to everybody else's. So what was for sale on the one site, on the one person was selling, was a partially done gold collection stocking. So I get it. I know it. That feels a little bit like cheating. There's some gold thread coming out of the kit. I get it. But at the same time, they save the stitches. This one, I'm almost speechless over this one, because I bought it. It wasn't expensive. I'm going to say maybe $10. And I was looking forward to the envelope coming, and then I was like bracing myself to open the envelope and be disappointed because it was old and dirty or whatever, hadn't been well cared for. But that wasn't the case. In fact, what came? I mean, I am just blown away. Blown away. It had the hoop on it, so I haven't tested it for color fastness. I haven't even ironed it, but I took the hoop off, and it's like one of those like really pretty old wooden hoops. So anyway, I took the hoop off. But here's the thing. This, I haven't touched this. The needle was threaded. It was poked into its very next spot where it was going to stitch. The only thing not done are these children, and they're started. It was interesting to me that they were left till the end. Her nightgown is done. So that's a curiosity, is that the children were left. If you're working from the middle out, from the top down, from the bottom up, from the sides in, I'm not really sure how you'd miss or why you would leave the children out. So unless, let me see, were there hair colors? Unless there was an effort being made to alter flesh tones or hair color, which is possible. I'm trying to not get the window glare. There we go. I just think to myself, what happened? What happened that this was left in this condition? Needle in the next spot. Now, we just saw one of my pieces, needle in the next spot with thread hanging off it because I either got distracted or it was time to go to bed and I just put it down. So what happened? This just doesn't it make you sad to wonder what happened? And this obviously ended up, I bought it, like I said, on Stash Unload, and I bought it from somebody who sells on there regularly. So I am almost 100% positive that they are in the practice of buying lots, maybe on eBay or from however you do that, you know, or going to the thrift store and buying whatever they find, because, you know, it's not just one person cleaning out their stash. It's somebody who's actively buying lots, buying cross-stitch stuff and reselling it. Who gave it away? Who went through their mother's or their grandmother's stuff and just tossed it? Like, if I paid $10 for it, what was the cost that the person on Stash Unload paid for it? And this is beautifully stitched. I mean, this is on 18 count. I'm sorry for that sun, and it's right at the section where the camera is. It is so beautifully stitched, and outlining as she went. It just makes me sad to think what happened, because somebody clearly invested a lot of hours in this, set it aside for whatever reason, and never ever picked it up again. And whoever got rid of it, which, you know, we all are sort of living in panic of what will happen to our stash and our collection. Anyway, it's going to have a good use. It's coming here. I don't know whose name will go on the top. None of my children are married, and I'm pretty much thinking it needs a marriage before they're getting a stocking and or grandchildren. This will come into a happy home and be part of a Christmas tradition. I'm looking at the back, and this is funny. I would never skip this far. Skipped this far with a thread, especially across blank space. I don't even know what to say except that I was over the moon that I managed to get this. Somebody else wanted it if I didn't go through with my purchase. The thing that is true about this kit, though, is that there's no thread. So let's go back to what happened. Where's the thread? I just try, like, scenarios run through my mind that if you were working on something and had all your parts and pieces spread out and somebody picked it back up and put it back in, it was in this when I purchased it. I don't know how it came to the person who sold it. Could have been in a big baggie, maybe. There was no thread. The only thread is the gold thread that obviously is used somewhere in there, probably on the tree. So it's a conundrum. So it's, you know, I went online and I found a conversion for gold, you know, dimensions to DMC, and I went through and I wrote down all the colors. I will try to do a good comparison to see if it really and truly is. I probably have enough of that green to finish whatever green was going on up here. And since the children are totally not done, I can just use new flesh tones and hair colors and, you know, whatever's. I don't really feel like if I'm not an exact match in those thread colors that it's going to make a difference. I don't know. Anyway, whoever this belonged to doesn't need to roll over in their grave or whatever because of what happened anymore. It came to a place where it will be taken care of. And at the same time, I bought another stocking kit that was unstarted. I didn't get this one 90% stitched. Barb, I think, on Lost and Floss. Is this maybe, I think, the one she's doing for her grandson? I feel like it is. I have a few other kits that I've bought in the last year or two, thinking about this whole conundrum of what to do for future additions to our family. So I'm pretty sure somewhere along the line there will be additions. Sorry, I'm looking around for that business card to my friend Penny's website, so you can go help a girl out. Other than that, for stitching, I think that's it. My piles are diminished. The only question I have for all you cross stitch people who seem to know more than I do some days, the Stitchery magazine catalog came yesterday, and sometimes when it comes, I toss it straight into the recycle bin because I mentioned previously my latest affinity for sort of the traditional patterns that were around when I started cross stitch. It doesn't help that I have been watching Cross Stitch with Luda. She's the Russian stitcher that she used to live like 2 hours from me, which I didn't know until after she'd already left. Well, she was there, I think, when I started, and then just in the starting to move back to Russia. So that was kind of bizarre, but she's lived in various places in the United States with her husband, who's Canadian, and owns a business that he apparently runs or starts up offices around the world. And they're back in her old hometown in Russia. And she shows, I had no idea, she meets up with some friends and some stitching friends that she's probably met on Flosstube. And they show what they've done. And that's really what's blown my mind about the Dimensions and the Luca S and the Riolas kits. And it just sort of reignited that passion. I couldn't find them this morning, which is shocking. I don't know where they are. I can't imagine why not, because first of all, every couple weekends I'm packing my bags and going somewhere, or shopping with friends, or on some kind of excursion and coming home with new things. Joanne Fabrics had a coupon a few weeks ago. It might have been over the July 4th weekend. I bought 2 Dimensions type kits from them, and they came separately, and I don't know where I put them. I was rifling through all my file boxes of cross stitch, so I may have actually put them away, and I didn't look away. I looked where I tend to accumulate these things, like on my desk. So anyway, I can't show you those, and plus, until I work on them, I'm not showing you. This is my latest obsession. I went through the whole Stitchery catalog, or the Stitchery, Stitchery, and thought, good, didn't see anything, but really, I studied this one for a long time, thought about it, went back, to it when I was done with the catalog, and I tried to find it, who made it, who's the author, who's the designer. So maybe somebody knows, and it's not like I feel like a $40 kit isn't all that outrageous. I mean, yeah, I'd probably spend that much if I had to go buy all the threads to start with and a piece of fabric and the pattern. Probably I'd spend more. But when you get something like this, you know, the first thing you pull out is that piece of fabric. So I'm wondering if I can find, if anybody knows who the designer is, and if I can just find the pattern to purchase. I believe somebody was working on it at StitchCon, not a Flosstuber that I knew of anyway. So if anybody knows, I thought it maybe was Imaginating, and I went through on 123 Stitch, so hardly the be all and end all, but you know, they had a good like 10 pages of Imaginating patterns, and this wasn't one of them, but they had a lot that were so similar in style. So if anybody can help me out and tell me who maybe is the designer, and maybe it's only sold exclusively through this website, but there's a lot of patterns out in here that aren't exclusively through the Stitchery. So anyway, if anybody knows that, I'd love that piece of information so I could add that beauty to my wish list. So what's next? I traveled last weekend, going away again in a few weeks. Yeah, there's always something. We're at a little summertime lull. Nobody's doing anything remarkable right now. You know, the usual summer things. I need to get outside and do some weeding and feeding and hummingbird food changing. And oh shoot, there's a chipmunk. This chimpmunk's, oh no, it's not. I don't even want to tell you. You know, I have wildlife. Are you allowed to count a mouse as wildlife? You know, I'm pretty sure we've had some stories before about encounters with mice. My feelings about mice. I was getting my garden cart out. And I've talked about this before, and we've had way crazy incidences with my garden cart a couple years ago. You got to be a longtime watcher or watch back for that story. But it involved a chipmunk, and it wasn't alive, and something else. So I get my garden cart out. Actually, it was still in the garage. I hadn't even touched it yet. I was getting my tools around to go plant some things, and my garden cart is like a little four-wheeled cart, and you sit on it, and you can scooch side to side because it's got wheels, and under the seat is where the tools go and stuff. So I looked in there, and there's a dead mouse. Don't do mice, dead or alive. It's in the garage. This is in the garage. So there's a dead mouse in there. I'm like, oh crap. So I needed to get one tool out of there. So like I used another tool to like flick out what I wanted. And then my husband was away on business. He just loves this when I do this kind of thing. I send him a text and I say, there's a dead mouse in my garden cart. It's contaminated and now needs to be burned. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't go outside and fling it outside. I'm like, nope, it might bounce back and hit me. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't want to feel it. Dead or alive, I don't want to feel it, touch it, see it, nothing. So anyway, he came home and took care of it, but still, and it's even before I found this dead mouse, every time I go out there, like, especially for the first time in the season, I give it a good look-see before I pick it up. Anyway, I'm going to go get that out and, take care of some of the outside flowers and whatnots, and I bought a new hummingbird feeder, so I'm going to go fill that and take away the one they apparently don't like. They just won't eat at it, and I see them out there. We hear hummingbirds all the time, always. One got a little teeny one got stuck in the garage a week or two ago. Little thing. I was in the garage and I heard, I don't know, I had maybe come home and I out of my car and I'm in the garage and I can hear the hummingbirds, and they must have a nest out front. So I can hear them out there flying, you know, the little cheepy sound they make. And I heard them and I went in the house, and a while later I came out to put garbage in the trash can and I still hear it. And I thought, oh, that's got to be in the garage, because it wasn't like a passing sound like it's flying by the garage door. It was in the garage, and they do get in there. But it was this little teeny one, and it was behind, it was at the window of the other garage door was down, and it was, you know, tapping at it and cheep, 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 cheep. So I put the garage door up, which it took it a while to realize it could fly away, but it was cute. So anyway, that's the kind of wildlife I like, are the hummingbirds. But they won't eat from my feeder, and I don't know why. And the thing about this particular feeder is it has a built-in like well on the top for water so that it stops the ants, because that's always a problem, are the ants. I don't know, it doesn't like it. So I bought a different one. I don't know. We'll see. I do see them out there at my actual flowers, which is nice. But anyway, I'd like to see more. So today's Saturday. I won't get this uploaded till Sunday. I have not been able to upload video. Well, you know, we've been through this before, and I usually upload my videos to Google Photos, and then from YouTube I just send it quick. There's a link right on the YouTube upload screen to get your video from Google Photos, and that hasn't been working. So I have been up, if I can go to where I have good fast internet, I can get it uploaded from the YouTube desktop or from the beta. I swear, you do this once a month, you're like, how did I do that? What did I do last time that worked? I don't know. I have to be where there's good internet. That part I do know. So tomorrow, that'll be tomorrow. So happy Saturday, happy weekend, happy stitching, happy all the things, and I'll talk to you all soon. Hey Flosstube, I'm back again for a quick minute. I only just finished the last video half an hour ago. I forgot to show my Angels in the Snow, which is a Mirabilia. Dina, half stitch, cross stitch, is starting this one. And I made mention of having stitched it already, and she said she'd love to see it. So Dina, this one's for you. I pulled it out of where I store my Christmassy or winter cross stitch. And I will move around just a little bit so you can see it. It's not as sparkly today as I think it is in real life. I did not use an opalescent fabric. When I was going to stitch it, I struggled with finding the right fabric. My sister had stitched it. I borrowed the pattern from her, and she said, in her opinion, that because things are beaded, like the words are beaded, there's beading in the words, beading around the background, and the word angel is all just beads, that it had enough sparkle and glory on its own that it really didn't need an opalescent fabric. So I didn't do it that way. I can see though that you know, especially nowadays with the fabrics that are just beautiful, that it really would have been pretty. And then this is my frame, is a double matted silver frame. It just is the cutest pattern. I actually bought it again. I found it maybe on Stash Unload so that I could have the other version. And because this is just so stinking cute. And interestingly, this is the little boy, which I really didn't see it as a boy, especially given the scarf is pink, and just, I don't know, there's just something about the style of the hat, the coat, the scarf that didn't make me think of boy. So anyway, it is just a beautiful piece. It doesn't take anywhere near as long to stitch, for example, as some of the Mira angels and ladies, but it's just as pretty. Just, let me see if I can get in on some of those beads and details. So darn cute. So anyway, Dina, this one's for you.